Hi, my report is on education in Norway. History of education in Norway. Organized education in Norway dates as far back as medieval times. Shortly after Norway became an archdiocese in 1153, cathedral schools were constructed to educate priests in Trondheim, Oslo, Bergen, and Hamar. After the Reformation of Norway in 1537, Norway entered a personal union with Denmark in 1536. The cathedral schools were turned into Latin schools, and it was made mandatory for all market towns to have such a school. In 1736, training in reading was made compulsory for all children, but was not effective until some years later, when ambulatory schools were also established. In 1827, Norway introduced the folk school or the people's school, a primary school which became a mandatory for 7 years in 1889 and 9 years in 1969. In the 1970s and 1980s, the folk school was abolished and the grand school, foundation school, was introduced. Traditionally poorer countries like Finnmark and Hedmark have the highest shares of inhabitants who only have completed the compulsory primary education, with numbers as high as 38%. Education for today. The Norwegian school system can be divided into 3 parts. Elementary school or the barneskole, ages 6 to 13, lower secondary school or the ungdomsskole, ages 13 to 16, and upper secondary school, the videregående school, ages 16 to 19. The barneskole and ungdomsskole levels are compulsory and are commonly referred to as grand school, literally translates to base school. Elementary and lower secondary school are mandatory for all children aged 6 to 16. Before 1997, mandatory education in Norway started at the age of 7. Students often have to change school when they enter lower secondary school and almost always have to change school when they enter upper secondary school, as many schools only offer one of the levels. For the primary school or the barneskole, grades 1 to 7, ages 6 to 13, in the first year of primary school, students spend most of their time playing educational games and learning social structures, the alphabet, basic addition and subtraction, and basic English skills. In grades 2 to 7, they are introduced to mathematics, English, science, religion, focusing not only on Christianity, but also on all other religions, their purpose, and their history. Aesthetics and music, complemented by geography, history, and social studies in the 5th grade. No official grades are given at this level. However, the teacher often writes a comment, analysis, and sometimes an unofficial grade on tests. Tests are to be taken home and shown to parents. There is also an introductory test to let the teacher know if the student is above average or is in need of some assistance at school. For the lower secondary school or the ungdomsskole, ages 8 to 10, grades 8 to 10, ages 13 to 16, when the students enter lower secondary school at age 12 or 13, they begin getting grades for their work. Their grades, together with their locations in the country, will determine whether they get accepted to their upper secondary school of choice or not. From 8th grade, students can choose one elective and one language. Typical offered languages are German, French, and Spanish, as well as additional English and Norwegian studies. Before the educational reform of August 2006, students could choose a practical elective instead of the languages. Teens born in 1999 and later could once again choose a practical elective known as ARBAIDS or career studies upon starting lower secondary school, thus getting the option to choose two electives. The electives varies massively between schools even in the same municipality. A student may take the grade 10 exam in a particular subject early as long as he or she has been granted an exemption from further instruction in the elementary or the middle school curriculum of that subject. For the upper secondary school or the Videre Grand Schule, grades VG1 to VG3, ages 16 to 19. Secondary education in Norway is primarily based on public schools. In 2007, 93% of upper secondary school students attended public schools. Until 2005, Norwegian law held private secondary schools to be illegal unless they offered a religious or pedagogic alternative. Prior to 1994, there were three branches of upper secondary schooling: general or the language, history, the mercantile or the accounting, and vocational, electronics, carpentry studies. Students graduating upper secondary school are called RAS in Norwegian. Most of them choose to celebrate with lots of parties and festivities, which in practically take place a few weeks before the final examination of the final year. Educators in Norwegian schools. The titles of educators in Norwegian schools vary with the degree they have. Preschool teacher. These teachers are primarily employed in kindergartens and the first 4 grades of primary school. To become a preschool teacher in Norway requires a bachelor's degree from a university college. Adjunct teacher. These teachers primarily work between the 5th and 10th grades of lower secondary school, but some are also employed in high schools, usually in minor subjects. To become an adjunct requires a bachelor's degree in a particular subject from a university or university college. Lecturer. Lecturers work in upper secondary school and high schools from 8th grade up to the 3rd year of high school. Lecturers have a master's degree from a university along with a pedagogy course. For the higher education is anything beyond upper secondary school and normally lasts 3 years or more. To be accepted to most higher education schools, you must have attained a general university admissions certificate. Higher education is broadly divided into 1. Universities, which concentrate on theoretical subjects or the arts, humanities, natural science. Supply bachelor for 3 years, master for 5 years, and PhD for 8 years titles. Universities also run a number of professional studies, including law, medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, and psychology. But these are generally separate departments that have little to do with the rest of the university institution. Next, university colleges, which supply a wide range of educational choices, including university degrees at bachelor, master, and PhD levels, engineering degrees, and professional vocations like teacher and nurse. The grade system is the same as it is for universities. There are no formal distinction between vocational and non-vocational higher education. For the timeline of Norwegian higher education, before the 19th century, the main source for higher education of Norwegians were the University of Copenhagen. In 1750, the Norwegian Military Academy is established as the Free Mathematical School with officer training and technical disciplines such as geographic surveying, drawing, fortification, and mathematics. In 1757, the mining seminar is established at Kongsberg to train engineers for the Kongsberg mines. This education was moved to the Royal Frederiks University in Christiania in 1814, 3 years after the establishment of this university. In 1811, the University of Oslo is established as Universitas Regia Fredericiana, modeled on the University of Berlin. In 1859, the Norwegian University of Life Sciences is established as an agriculture school at Akershus. In 1910, the Norwegian Institute of Technology is established in Trondheim. In 1936, the Norwegian School of Economics and Business Administration is established in Bergen. In 1943, the BR Norwegian Business School is established as Merchant School. In 1946, the University of Bergen is established. In 1961, the Oslo School of Architecture and Design is established. In 1972, the University of Tromsø is established. In 2005, Stavanger University College is given status as university, thus becoming the University of Stavanger. In 2007, Agder University College was established and is given status as university, thus becoming the University of Agder. In 2011, Bodø University College becomes University of Nordland, the 8th university in Norway. In 2014, Telemark University College, Baskerud University College, and Vestfold University College merged to form the University College of Southeastern Norway. In 2018, the University College of Southeastern Norway gained university status, becoming the University of Southeastern Norway. For the grading system, Norway has multiple different grading systems, both unique ones and ones that have been based on foreign grading systems. The formerly most common system of grades used at university level was based on a scale running from 1, or the worst, through 6, the best, with 4 or below being considered passing grades. The way the new Bologna system was introduced implies that students who had started their studies while the old system still was in effect will graduate with transcripts containing grades from both systems, both numbers and letters. Lower levels of education use a scale running from 1 through 6, with 6 being the highest and 2 the lowest passing grade. For non-final tests and midterm evaluations, the grades are often post-fixed with plus or negative. And it is also common to use grades such as 5/6 or 4/3 indicating borderline grades. However, the grades students get on their final paper are either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That ends my report. Good day, sis. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy. God bless.